For the first 5 minutes, I think we just normally talk, converse. Okay, guys, we are live. Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon. We are officially live now. We'll just chitter chatter for the next 5 minutes, waiting for everyone to join in before officially kicking off. But in the meanwhile, privileged to have an amazing set of panelists here. So I'll request everyone to just come forward and introduce themselves. We officially start and kick off the town hall at 12:05. So we'll just wait for 5 minutes to reiterate, ensuring that everyone joins in. So over to the panelists to start introducing themselves. Anuragji, if we can just start with you.
Thank you, Sagar. Thank you so much. I am Anurag Katriyar, guys, and I'm also a restaurateur. That's why I'm here, and I've been a past president of NRAI, and currently serve as a trustee, founder of Indigo. My job today is to make sure that I get best out of all these esteemed speakers on the panel. That's what I'm going to do. Over to you, Anshul.
Hi everyone, I am Anshul Gupta. Thank you for having me here. I am the founder of Eat Club Brands. We run brands like Box 8 and Mojo Pizza across major cities in the country. Very happy to be here and to contribute in this. Over to Riaz.
Yeah, hi, I'm Riaz Amlani. Chai coffee बेचते हैं रेस्टोरेंट के काम में है ex-president of NRAI and now a trustee, and I'm looking forward to this chin wag with all of you guys. Gauri?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gauri Devidyal, Joint Secretary at the NRAI and co-founder of restaurants like The Table and Mag Street, which are all Mumbai-based, and looking forward to this enlightening conversation with everybody. Please come forward with questions, lots of questions.
Thomas?
Hi, I'm Praful Chandavarkar from Pune. I've been a past chapter head at the Pune chapter. I co-founded and founded brands like Malacca Spice, One China, Cherish Farms, and primarily have worked in the space where we have got together a very vibrant Pune chapter. And we look forward today as a city to kind of bring together our views on how the aggregators are performing and how we should be able to work with them or try and stop them from doing the stuff that sometimes they end up doing. So thank you for having me, and hello everyone. I think Chetan is next.
Thomas, if you can take it up.
Yes, I'll step in. Hi guys. My name is Thomas Finn. I am the co-founder of Mahabeli. We are a Malayali restaurant in Delhi. I also serve as the joint secretary of NRAI, and we overlook e-commerce and logistics for the association. Great to be here.
Guys,
Chetan,
good morning, everybody. I'm Chetan Hegde. I'm the chapter head of the Bangalore chapter, NRAI. I run a group called 1522. We have multiple restaurants in Bangalore and Mumbai. Like all of us, we're trying to put our heads together to see how we can make this a better environment for us to run our business sustainably.
Hi guys. I think we're going in alphabetical order. So Zorawar Z goes last. Great to be here. I'm the new VP of the NRAI, so still wet behind the ears, fresh off the boat, so to speak. Great to be here with this full panel of stalwarts. Many of these people are my mentors, people that I really admire what they're doing. The idea today is, of course, to look at this from an HD lens, a high resolution lens, this whole debate is going to be from a high resolution lens rather than a low resolution one. And the idea is to have a very fulfilling conversation. It's not going to be a bunch of monologues. It's going to be more conversational in nature. Mr. Katriyar is going to lead the way, and I look forward to an incredible debate.
Deepti, quickly, if you can come in.
Hi, I'm Deepti Sarma. I take care of brands in tier 2 cities. I own a South Indian restaurant brand called 22nd Parallel and Idli Karan by 22nd Parallel. Excited to be here with all the big ones here. Look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, guys, while we were warming up, I feel proud to say that we have more than 1,000 people glued in. It's 12:05 and we officially kick off the town hall. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends and Meteorist fraternity. It's always a pleasure to, come together, gather together as a community, which is driven by the passion of food and beverage. And today we are here to discuss a very, very special and critical and relevant topic. Are aggregators helping or hurting? It's not just about the boon or the pain that we want to talk about, but we also want to talk about how do we navigate this ever-evolving landscape, right? So, the NRAI, which is the voice of the restaurant industry, has always stood for ensuring that we protect and safeguard the interests of restaurateurs. In the last few years, we've grown deep, we've grown wide. NRAI stands for not just the bigger restaurateurs, but also for the smaller restaurateurs. It's for fine dine guys, it's for casual dine guys, it's for QSR, cloud kitchen, restaurateurs in metro cities or a small town city. I think we have really gone deep and wide, and I'm grateful and full of gratitude and thankful for all of you, all of you members to come together. I've always said, and I reiterate, that our unity is our biggest strength, and we need to be in this together. I think we've never seen the level of unity that we see today. And in this particular topic, which is a very, very, very important topic for us, I earnestly request all of you to come forward, participate. The flow of the event would be that, we would have a discussion amongst the panelists for the first 45 to 50 minutes. And then we open the house for Q&A. So you can go into the comments box and mention your questions. We will pick up relevant questions, and you can have a question directed to a particular panelist, or you can have a question which is very open-ended and any one of us will take it. Also, during the entire flow of the event, you'll see a lot of polls coming in. It's going to pop up in your screen. We want you guys to, go out there and participate in the poll. So, let's have a very impactful discussion. Let's have a solution-driven discussion. But yes, let's express ourselves. Let's come out and speak aloud. Let's not forbid ourselves from talking. I think let's express ourselves, and it starts right from the leadership. And I now hand over the reins to my moderator for today, our moderator for today, which is Mr. Anurag Katriyar. Anuragji, you've been the past president. You've guided us over the last few years. You've been a trustee, and you are someone whom I look up to for being quite vocal about this particular topic. There's no gray area for you. It's been black or white. Anuragji, I'll start with you. Would want you to set the context and then take up the discussion with the flow. Over to you, Anuragji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sagar, and warm welcome to everyone. Guys, what we are going to discuss is the changing landscape of how the restaurant business is working today. So before I start off, I would like to take you through a journey of how this restaurant industry has worked, the whole evolution of restaurant industry. So I go back, say 10, 15 years, there used to be a person who knew how to run restaurants. He would open a restaurant, he would get his people in, he will do his local marketing, and people will come, and there were two parts to the business. There was dining in business and there was a delivery business. Delivery was always something which was an add-on. And in either of the business, you had kind of a fixed margin, give or take 1 or 2%. Agar 70% margin, it was all hunky-dory. Then came in the aggregators, and they came in the delivery business. And what did they say? They said, allow us. हमको दो, हम आपको ग्राहक लाके देते हैं, because this is the advent of digital age and so on and so forth. And they started with some very minuscule commissions like 5% and all. And we said, ठीक है, थोड़ा extra धंधा आ रहा है, क्या दिक्कत है, ले लेते हैं. and then started the real game of how e-commerce is played. So these aggregators use the access of our restaurant and they started offering what I call the only Sanjeevani booty they have, discount. And they started converting our customers into theirs. जो हमारे पास directly order करते थे, अब वो उनके app के through कर रहे थे because they bring the convenience, the choice, etc., etc. And slowly, it has started going to a stage where today the aggregators control virtually the entire pipeline from discovery to delivery of the delivery business. And why do they do that? Because they have the power of the data. They have been able to successfully change the user habits who are happy going to a Zomato or a Swiggy to order. So now what has that done? Today that 5% has become 35%. Our businesses have not grown to the proportion our expenses have gone. मैं एक सिंपल सा अरिथमेटिक देता हूँ. अगर पहले हम 100 रुपए का डिलीवरी करते थे ना तो 65-70 रुपए घर में आते थे. आज हम 100 रुपए का करते हैं तो 30 रुपए आते हैं because the aggregators between discovery, delivery, discount, etc., 35-40% तो खाई जाते हैं. Which means unless you really do 2.25 times of the business you were doing, you will not even be at par where you were. So this is about the thing. Now discount is another aspect. I said that's the only Sanjeevani booty they have. उनके पास कोई भी problem लेके जाओ. साहब कैसे ग्राहक लाना है, डिस्काउंट दो. साहब रिटेल कैसे करना है, डिस्काउंट दो. So on and so forth. So if you go back earlier times, discount was a privilege. As restaurant owners, we decided whom to give discount, when to give discount, how much to give discount, and the people who got discounts would be very indebted to us. And they would call back next day for a 10% discount. Thank you. Now, thanks to the aggregators and their stranglehold over, and we have given them this right. I won't deny our own mistakes. Today, discount is like mandir ka prasad, har din milta hai. So this is how they change the delivery. And now, more importantly, I think now they are looking to get into the restaurant business, which is the mainstay, other than in cloud kitchen business for an average restaurant. And I think the same, playbook is going to play all over again. आप पहले हमको reservation लेने दो, फिर our customer will become theirs, our restaurant data will become theirs, and then they will say, I am sending you customers. And that is what I feel we are here to talk about today. ये जो ग्राहक हैं, these guests who come to our restaurants, are they my guests or are they guests of people who are supposed to be nothing but a platform? They are like agents. They are at best a marketplace, but they claim ownership over the business when they don't even set up a restaurant. So what we are going to do today, guys, this was the journey, how it went. Something which was totally in our control is not totally in our control as far as deliveries are concerned. And we fear that the same thing may happen going forward with the restaurant business. So what we are going to do is today we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss how it is impacting everything and how do we go about it. So we'll break it into two parts, the delivery and the in-dining business. And we are going to start with in-dining business first, the restaurant business, which they both Zomato and Swiggy are trying to get into. And to discuss this, we have two very, very huge stalwarts with us. First is Riaz Amlani. He needs no introduction. Probably one of the...
I think, have we lost Mr. Anurag?
I think so too.
I guess we have. So I'll take it up from here. I think, Riaz, I'll request you to come.
I am back in the show. I think I went to the backstage by mistake. Sorry.
Right. Anurag is here. Over to you.
Okay. So I was talking about Riaz. Riaz needs no introduction. He has been a pioneer in restaurant here. He has set up, he has presence across all the major cities and one of the most articulate persons in the trade. And along with him will be Zorawar Kalra, the current vice president, one of the most well-known figures in the F&B business, a man who is all about style, class, and something innovative all the time. And somebody who is also very, very good at understanding the business. So I'm going to invite Riaz and Zorawar to understand and discuss what is happening in the dining in business and how do they see these guys impacting the dining in business because they are making an all-out efforts to get in there. So, Riaz, let's start with you. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Anurag, thank you for that lovely welcome. I think I should start my day talking to you every day. It's a major ego. And it's a pleasure to be amongst my favorite people on this planet who are restaurateurs. I love you all, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company. I'm also honored to be joined by my longtime friend, comrade, and philosopher and guide, Zorawar Kalra, who I hold in extreme, in very high esteem because of the sheer amount of prolific restaurants which he's rolled out over the years. So I guess me and Zorawar have been in this business for a very long time. Maybe, Zorawar, you've been around for maybe 12 years or so in the restaurant business?
More.
Longer than that. At the fear of giving away my vintage, I will say that I started my first restaurant, which used to be a Punjab grill in a food court, in I think 2005 or 6, and then the first restaurant in 2007. So yes, we both have we have wisdom, hopefully, on our side. We definitely have years. Great to be joined by you. You're one of those guys that I admire the most, apart from being a very great friend. We talk often, we chill often, and we don't talk shop usually when we're separate. But when we're on a platform like this, I think it's up to us to kind of outlay very clearly the trials and tribulations that we as an industry face. And I think today as I said earlier, we're going to have a look at this with a higher resolution lens. I think this whole conversation is actually more to do about the laws of natural justice. I mean, do we as an industry have the right to control our own future, our own destiny? Are we looking at additive value generation or substitutive value generation? We discussed this in the past. If the overall business is not increasing, but it's share shifting, the customer that used to come to you automatically is now coming through an app. Is it additive in nature, or is it simply substitutive? I mean, do we as an industry, I guess, have the right to control our own narrative? Can we control the experience? Who should control the experience at our restaurants? And what is best for the consumer? Is it always the best for the industry? I mean, if you look at discounting, it may be great to save money, but does it create a scenario where the entire business becomes unsustainable? So there are a lot of issues. I think we're going to have a dialogue. We're hoping that by the end of it, something fruitful comes out. A collaborative approach, in my opinion, is much better than a conflicting approach. But the whole idea is to lay out and voice deep concerns, as Anuragji said earlier. Can't lose control of the narrative, can't lose control of our own ecosystem.
Riaz and Zorawar, I'm going to ask you a very direct question. Do you guys think the advent of aggregators into the dining in business may have the same negative impact as it had on the delivery business? Yes or a no is an answer first I'm seeking before we get into the details.
Of course, the answer is yes. We've seen the playbook before. I've spent about 12 years without aggregators in the business. That was a different time. We've seen aggregators come in and start off the business. Restaurants have always been about person to person. It's been a very personal business. So restauranters have always focused on the personal person-to-person interaction. They focus on providing great food and great service and interacting on a one-to-one basis. We never really thought technology would be a disruptor in our industry. We saw, the tech rise, the entire tech.com industry come in, and we were sitting, chilling, thinking, tech will never disrupt our industry. And then came along these aggregators who started off with a simple service. They wanted to show the menus of restaurants to people so they could order from their offices. I think that was a simple problem that they were trying to solve. And slowly, they started more than just putting the menu out there. They started getting into reviews of restaurants, and people could go and rate restaurants. And then they started providing on-demand delivery, which they did a brilliant job at. Restaurateurs got very used to, while they were focusing on their food and service and the experience of the country, we really didn't pay attention to technology. And these aggregators came in and they started becoming CTOs, or they started providing this technology to us at nominal cost. I remember at one point it was, I think, 5%, which was cost of delivery when we first started.
Absolutely.
And slowly, they started saying, okay, they started providing this service, and from 5% it went to 35%. And like you correctly said, Anuragji, between discovery, delivery, and discounting, they take about 55% of the delivery business. Right? And they figured out that, customers, you give customers discounts, and that customer will turn from the restaurant's customer to your customer. You know why? Primarily because you are offering a customer on the aggregators more discounts than you are offering to the person who took the trouble to call you up and place an order directly. The fault is completely our own, by the way. Before we start blaming anybody else, I have to say that it is
Absolutely,
our fault.
Riaz.
We started offering customers better discounts and better deals on the platforms rather than offering our own customers the same or better deal. Right? This is the same problem that happened to hotels. If you remember, the hotels.com and bookings.com, everybody just moved to that because you get better rates on hotels.com, on bookings.com than you get on the hotel website. And when the power shifted, it was too late. And now, if you go to the hotel's website, you will find a better rate on the hotel's website than you will on booking.com or hotels.com. They've taken the power back, and they had to consolidate the business. The behemoths had to come together to be able to fight this menace. Right? So it took a long time. So the fault is entirely ours. So in the delivery business, we started doing this. Now, what has happened, Anuragji and my fellow restaurants?
Riaz, before you go further, I have one question on something that you said right now. You said that we were offering more discounts to on their platform than to our customers ourselves. Don't you think they were doing dollar dumping and they were funding the discount initially to convert our customers to theirs?
No, absolutely right, Anuragji. In the beginning, that's what happened. They were matching this.
That's
First, they
what I
were
was
offering
thinking.
discounts on their own platform because they were raising money. Then they started sharing discounts, and then they've just stopped. And now the algorithm just says that if you don't offer discounts, you will not show up in the top 20, 30 searches. Right? So, and that was one way of converting the customer. Now that we've seen, we've seen that the dine-in business, the delivery business is stagnating. Now they've maximized that business, right? So now they've got a whole bunch of data of people who consume food and drink, and they know exactly who's ordering how many times, whether they are a low or average order value customer, whether they are high average order value customer. They have all this data. So now they're saying that, look, every time somebody thinks of food, we've got them used to opening up, our app. Either it's a Swiggy or it's a Zomato. We will open up this app every time we think of food. Now we've been trained, right? And they've spent a decade and more, and they've spent billions of dollars training people to open up these apps every time they're hungry. So now they've just added to delivery. They've added dining in because now delivery has stagnated. Now they want a piece of the dining out business or the eating out business, and we've seen this pattern, we've seen the playbook, we've seen how they slowly turn up the temperature. 5% becomes 10%, 10 becomes 12%. Anuragji, I remember that when we were during COVID time, if you remember, we had just got into COVID and delivery was the only source of income for restaurants. And that's when, instead of coming out and supporting it, they completely changed the terms and conditions. They started putting, penal interest. They started putting penalties. KPTs were not done on time. There was a penalty. Everything was.
यार सीधी जुबान में बोलूं ना रियाज, सीधी जुबान में बोलूं, what happened is that the guys who never owned any business of F&B started owning the F&B ecosystem. They started pretending because COVID, you are right. There was no other avenue of doing business. Everybody was dependent on them, and they made unilateral changes. So today they claim to own our customers. Today they claim to own our business. Today they control the complete pipeline. They have taken a complete charge. Let's be very clear. We have ceded that ground in delivery business to them, and now we will do whatever we need to do to get it back. But right now, coming back to this dining in business, Riaz and Zorawar, do you see what are the dangers you see of these guys getting into this business? I personally feel they'll play the same game that they played with delivery. थोड़ा दे दो, अभी हमको कोई discount नहीं देना है, don't pay me anything. Eventually, the moment they change the consumer habit, they will change the rules of the game, and we will see, cede control of this business too. Zorawar, do you agree with this kind of assertion that I am making? Do you think this kind of thing can happen? मुझे लगता है ऐसा होगा.
I mean, Anurag ji, I think Riaz has covered the point, and absolutely, it is, the playbook is very clear for everyone to see, right? This has already happened, and it's a very, very slippery slope, because once you go down this path and once you kind of let somebody a foot in the door, you give an inch, someone can obviously take a yard. And I think the biggest issue that can affect our dining out business, our restaurant business, is deep discounting. If you look at a year ago, if you're not on any of these platforms, and if you're getting 100 customers a day, so 3,000 in a month, each of those 100 was coming to you on their own. There was no real discounting offered. Today, it's my hypothesis, and I've actually even noticed this as a personal experience, you will probably see the same 3,000 people coming in, but 20% of them may be coming from the app on the basis of a discount. I think बड़ा fear जो होता है ना, is the fear of missing out. ये FOMO जो एक चीज है ना, ये इतनी खराब चीज है कि आप एक क्लस्टर में जाओ, साइबर हब सपोजिंग, साइबर हब में 50 रेस्टोरेंट है, आप 5 को बोलो यार आप आ जाओ, 5 की प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, they are genuinely starving for customers, they go ahead and list. By using that 5, the FOMO factor can come into play, and suddenly all 50 are listing. And then they're not just listing discounts, they are listing deep discounts. Competing. There are 2 Chinese restaurants. One of them is having to compete. There's, you lose control of the narrative. आपके पास जो funnel है, जो आपका खुद का funnel था, वो खत्म हो गया, वो divert हो गया, आपका funnel आधा हो गया, आधा कहीं और से आ रहा है, but उस आधे पे आपको एक commission देना है, ठीक है, और एक आपको discount देना है. And I really think discount is like a drug. I think it's the worst drug in the world.
Yeah.
Have to somehow put a stop to deep discounting. It is the worst thing that can happen. You've seen it with delivery, you've seen it with flash sales, you've seen it with a bunch of other products, you've seen with, as Riaz said, prioritizing those people that are giving bigger discounts. There are certain cohorts that are available on these delivery apps where only if you are above a certain discount threshold can you even be visible. And if 30-40% of the entire traffic of that website is going to that cohort, what option do you have? If your competitor is doing it, you're going to have to list, and you're going to have to deep discount. So FOMO leading to deep discounts is the biggest challenge for the dining out scene if we go down this path. And once you go into that trap, it's like a quicksand. I don't think you can get out. No amount of
get out of it.
You're going to be stuck to that funnel. And if you see your competitors do it, you'll have no option. I mean, you can't. It's a rosy road.
But Zorawar, so मैं यही बता रहा हूँ. अब देखो क्या होता है Zorawar, अगर हम लोगों ने डिस्काउंट की बीमारी लगा दी यहाँ पे भी. You rightly said, discount is like a nasha. Okay, for aggregators, this is the only संजीवनी बूटी they have. कोई भी बीमारी हो, उनके पास एक ही उपाय, डिस्काउंट या मार्केटिंग में खर्चा कर दो. उनके पास कोई भी क्रिएटिव चीज नहीं है. Or for a customer, it is definitely good. Yeah, as a customer who doesn't like to save some money. The problem is, today lots of restaurateurs are losing the faith in their own product. End of the day, people are consuming a product. They are paying for an experience. And I strongly believe if you put a premium on your experience, people will come back. To prevent the situation, Zorawar and Riaz, I personally feel, isn't it very necessary that we control the pipeline? Because वो तो भैया उनके पास इतने पैसे पड़े हुए हैं, वो तो डिस्काउंट की बीमारी लगा के आपको बोलेंगे ठीक है आप डिस्काउंट मत दो, वो डिस्काउंट दे के जो ग्राहक सीधा आता था उसको अपना बना लेंगे. So my point is, as an immediate step to every budding restaurateur or an existing restaurateur, what would you suggest?
Anurag,
quick answers, both of you.
You're right. Discount is a drug, but I don't think that drug has been given to customers. I think that drug has been given to restaurateurs. And we are smoking that pipe, because for us it's a very easy solution for a restaurant. Discount customer instead of focusing on our own businesses, we started focusing on the channel. And listen, aggregators are, they've of course created the entire ecosystem for the dining out business. Lots of credit to them on that. But in the dining out space, this is where we have to be very careful now, and we have to be very cautious. Okay, use this as a channel. Yes, there are people who are sitting. There are 20 million, 18 million people sitting on these channels with intent to purchase food, whether it is through delivery or whether it is through the process of going. Anuragji, can you put your mic on this thing, please? Yeah, thank you. Whether they are going for delivery or they're going dining out, people with intent to consume food are sitting on these apps, and to their credit, they understand this, right? It is how we use this tool now, from now going onwards, is going to decide our future. If you are going to decide this tool as a magic button that we can switch on, that customers will come in and we think everything will be solved, I can only give you data points from my side. I got on to the dining out platforms in June. Okay, since June till now, we have seen 20% of our traffic coming in through the aggregator business. That is huge. Okay, if in 6 months they were able to capture 20%, in 1 year they will capture 40. But what has happened? Have my AOVs gone up? No. Have my actual walk-ins gone up? No. Right? So what we have to do is we have to use this as a channel. And here's the very nuanced subject that I'm going to say. Use this. If you are going to run, restaurateurs are going to run offers. They are going to, have non-peak times. They're going to, if there's some introduction or it's a new restaurant wants to offer the goods and services, they want to give introductory discounts. Whatever your offers are, whether you want to give 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, make sure that you give it to all your customers. Whether they come from Swiggy, whether they come from Zomato, does not matter. If you give people a better price when they're coming from the aggregators, we are putting our customers in their hands. If you give your customers a better price when they choose to walk in on your own, then we are keeping our customers to ourselves. Now we have to decide whether we want to keep our customers to ourselves or we want to hand it over to the aggregators. That decision, by the way, is completely in the hands of restaurateurs. There's no gun pointed to our head. There's no zor zabardasti, so we cannot continue this vilification of the aggregators. It is us restaurateurs who got used to an easy way of attracting customers, right? So if we use these channels as a funnel, we use them as a mechanism to get the word out there, and we use it purely as an advertising method, and we give every customer the same kind of discount or better discounts if they walk in on their own panel, I think we are going to win. If not, we are going to give better prices to Swiggy and Zomato customers. Then we give walk-ins or people who take the trouble to call up and make a reservation. Then obviously, they are going to succeed. It is up to us where we go from.
I what Riaz is saying. And like I said earlier, Anuragji, I think to answer your question directly, the way forward should be collaborative. There is no point of unnecessarily vilifying a platform that has built something. I think it's important to focus on the problems that the industry faces. For example, why are we offering discounts in peak hours? Why can't those discounts be only for off-peak hours, if at all? Why are we focusing on discounts at all? Why are we not focusing on value-adding things such as experiences? Dim sum rolling, sushi rolling in off-peak hours, and sell them in advance on the app. I think if there is a hand-in-glove kind of approach with the platform, then it can be a win-win. Currently, as Riaz said, today they're at 20, tomorrow 40. It's very, very important to utilize and harness this platform rather than make it come and occupy your ecosystem and control the narrative. And I think the best way to do that is collaborative rather than conflictive, and also for clear-cut asks that hopefully through the course of today's town hall, we will lay out, and I'm hopeful that people are listening and they can actually understand the true pain points and then come up with a solution to address them. Idea is not to hear morcha nahi lagane aaya hum yahan pe ek solution dhoondne aaye hain because the industry is hurting. if the industry is hurting, how is it going to voice its concerns? Through forums like this, through having the people, including the big ones, including the smaller ones, on a panel showcasing their problems, and hopefully the people that are involved in the ecosystem are listening. And I think that's the way forward. Collaborate. Do not give discounts. Do not get addicted to discounts, and don't let customers get addicted to discounts. It's not just the restaurateurs. I think the big problem remains that if you give somebody a huge discount, say 20%, and the restaurant only authorized 10, and the rest 10 is actually an additive discount given and paid for by the aggregator, then naturally he'll be, I've seen a situation, Anuragji, when people coming to my restaurant are sitting there on the table and then make a booking through one of the aggregators because there's a discount listed there and I'm not giving the discount. I mean, so we immediately stopped that. Walk-in discounts are completely stopped now, but I didn't know that for the first few months. So I think it's important to move away from the whole, discounting thing in general. A new restaurant is fine, but come up with more value-adding things. And let's be very clear: if we are profitable and making money, then we'll be able to give a better service. We'll be able to maintain a better ambience. We'll be able to give better food. Our consumers will be happy, and our employees will be happy. So I think a collaborative approach, one not focused on deep discounting, one not linked directly to a system of payment. So if I'm taking a reservation, why should I have to accept that, or why should I be able to enjoy that reservation only if I make?
So Zorawar and Riaz, sorry interrupting you, Zorawar. Zorawar and Riaz, let me put it like this. None of us are against the basic idea of e-commerce. Let's be very, very clear. We are not saying e-commerce is bad for the trade. Our problem is the terms of engagement of the current e-commerce players is not conducive for us. And like it or not, dollar dumping has actually harmed our industry quite a lot. As much as we can say that, collaborative, yes, we want to be collaborative, but collaboration is on equal terms. Not like I have heard horror stories of how terms of engagements are changed unilaterally by the aggregators using the dominant position. That is the problem. That is the problem that we need to address.
Absolutely, Anuragji. I fully appreciate that. But what we are saying is that, they have not put a gun to our heads. Of course, they've taken advantage of the FOMO and that creating,
बिल्कुल रियाज भाई, हम अपनी गलती से तो हमारी गलती तो भैया हमने कंट्रोल छोड़ा है, सीधी सी बात है, इससे तो इनकार नहीं कर सकते ना, हम आप सारे जिम्मेदार हैं.
But मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, I want to say this, Anuragji and Riaz, why do we have to, why can't we figure out clearly, set forward our asks? These are the points, these are absolute no-go zones, these are no-fly zones, do not enter here, and work with us in a method where you actually help. So why would the town hall should be, people from the representations from all sides are sitting here and talking, coming up with solutions. So I think
I'm going to tell you, Zorawar, देखो क्या होता है ना, मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको. Problem is that our intents and our objectives are different. For us, making profitability is very, very important. For them, profitability is not so important because they're driven by valuation gain. And now, both the major aggregators are publicly listed. Honestly, if you look at their complete record since inception and now, each of them would have burned several thousands of cash. It doesn't hurt them. But for us, to burn any cash hurts them. And more than that, what really hurts is losing control of the universe, which was yours and created by you. Anyways, guys, now let's move ahead from dining in. Thank you, Zorawar and Riaz, for your wonderful insights.
Can I just say that,
Please, sir, सरकार, हुजूर आपको तो बोलना ही पड़ेगा.
चाहूंगा कि दो चीजें आप ध्यान रखें. एक तो आप अपने कस्टमर को you treat them better than the ones that are coming from aggregators.
बिल्कुल.
जब तक आप better deals aggregators पे देंगे, वो आप continuously आपके कस्टमरों को Zomato और Swiggy के कस्टमर बनाओगे. तो पहली बात तो ये है कि आप खाली जो आप प्रमोशन कर रहे हैं वो वहाँ पे एडवर्टाइज करें. नंबर 1 ये है. नंबर 2, आपका खुद का CRM प्रोग्राम बनाए, आपका खुद का लॉयल्टी प्रोग्राम बनाए, and give people better deals on your own CRM and loyalty programs than on Swiggy and Zomato. ये मेरे हिसाब से is a solution. And of course, the industry is going to come together, and like we've done in the past, we've stopped. Like NRAI is the only thing that is standing between complete destruction of our business at the hands of other people. Whether it is the environment or whether it is aggregators, our unity is our strength. But first of all, पहले तो हमें अपने गरिबान में जाके देखना चाहिए कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं. मेरे हिसाब से 2 चीज याद रखें, अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पे ज्यादा कस्टमर को बेटर ट्रीट करें, दूसरों के प्लेटफॉर्म पे कम, और अपना खुद का लॉयल्टी प्रोग्राम बनाएं और अपना CRM प्रोग्राम अपने आप को मजबूत करें. ये आप don't become lazy when it comes to marketing. Our laziness has given the power to the aggregators. We have to work as hard creating our own marketing, and there are lots of other channels. There's lots of other medias, so let's focus on that too.
Thank you, Riaz, for your final comments on this. You are very right. गलतियां हमारी हैं, सुधारेंगे भी हम ही बहुत clearly. But इतना बहुत clear है that if we allow the terms of engagement, जिन शर्तों पे ये काम करते हैं उसको बदला नहीं, then it's not very good news for the dining in business going forward. Anyway, let's move on, guys. Now to the more interesting and more impacted part of the aggregator business, which is delivery. Now, delivery, as you know, today it is completely in control of the aggregators, and I think if I look at the profitability levels, we are probably worse than where we were 5 years ago. Our numbers may have grown, our volumes may have grown to whatever extent, but because of this colossal cost that these guys bring in, it's very difficult to make money today. I don't know about numbers, but I think today the way the rule books are, there will be only probably 5% of the cloud kitchens in the organized space who will probably be making money out of the aggregators business. Anyway, I am not an expert on that, but we have two big guys who will talk about it. We have Sagar Daryani, who is, of course, the president of the NRAI, also the founder and managing director, CEO of Wow Momos, one of the largest players in the QSR, and also Anshul Gupta. Anshul is a founder of what was earlier called Box8, now something else, but I'm going to address it as Box8 because that's what resonates with people. Anshul has, quick service restaurant operations or delivery operations across many cities. He's very huge. And I welcome both of them to let's discuss on what has been happening in this business, what are the current challenges, and how do we navigate through them. Let's bring in Sagar and Anshul, please.
Hi, Anuragji. Thank you. The delivery business, one side is scale, visibility, growth. That's one side of it. The other side, high rising commissions. I'm using the word rising because the commissions are only rising and rising. High rising discounts. The discounts are only rising and rising. Opaque policies. Random change in policies as per the whims and fancies of aggregators. And the line between independence and dependency is very blurred today. There's always a question mark between profitability and sustainability. And trust me, I'm very vocal about this. I don't think 99% of the people in the delivery business make money. 44% of my business is delivery and we don't make money. So it's high time that the aggregators, the restaurateurs need to look into the P&Ls of restaurants to understand what the reality is. And I'm taking the bull by the horn here. I want a cat out of the bag. Okay. The biggest, on top of all of this, okay, the biggest elephant in the house are the latest developments where we hear about aggregators getting into private tables, selling similar food sold by restaurants. And let me just set the context here. As NRAI, as a restaurant, as a foodpreneur, as a new age entrepreneur, we have no problem with quick commerce in the food delivery space. We are absolutely for it. We feel it's going to add zing to the food delivery space. What we are not okay with, and I repeat, what we are not okay with is aggregators getting into our territory, selling similar products, selling private labels. They have all our data. Anyways, there is consumer masking, there is data masking. We have lost the right of our data in their hands long time ago. And now using that data to sell similar products is completely not acceptable. I mean, this is something where, we've engaged with them in the past. We were assured verbally that, they will never get into private label, but them coming into this space, absolutely condemnable, completely against it, not going to accept it. And we will do whatever it takes. And I repeat, we will do whatever it takes to protect the interests of restaurateurs. Yes, dialogue is a way. We are having dialogues with them. But apparently, I personally believe that it's now time for all of us to be vocal and take a stand, boss. I mean, we have to take a stand. I mean, you just cannot maneuver and exploit or arm twist restaurateurs in this way. I think in a way, we personally do feel backstabbed, like I have earlier also mentioned. did not expect this coming. And you know what is happening? We are getting sandwiched because of their competition with Zepto. Why are they doing this? They're doing it because Zepto Cafe is doing this. They have investor pressure. They have shareholder pressure. But we are getting sandwiched. Why should we get sandwiched? So we should not allow that to happen. And that is why I feel the need for us to be vocal, united, and speak out. The need for us to look at a third alternative. The need for all of us to ensure that we grow our dining in business. Maybe we log on to ONDC platforms. We need to find various third alternatives to survive, sustain, and thrive. Otherwise, I think the delivery business is already out of. They already have a very firm footing in the delivery business, and like Riaz and Zorawar were saying, don't allow them to get that firm footing in the dining in business, because dining is the only place where we make money. But apart from that, what I want to highlight today, and I have a very dear friend Anshul with me. What I also want to highlight today is this whole private label issue. When we started becoming vocal about it, a lot of restaurateurs wrote to us. Every day I've been getting emails from at least 20-25 restaurateurs from across the country. I'm getting emails from a Gaya to a Jharsuguda to a Gwalior to a Bhopal, to from Trivandrum, where restaurants are talking and now getting outspoken about how they are being harassed, how they are being told by the POCs of these aggregators that if you don't pay money, if you don't spend on ads, you will not have organic visibility. Your competition who's playing ad will be more visible, etc., etc. I think this is completely abuse of power. But while investigating, and Anshul, I want you to come in here, we have also got a lot of allegations from many members that Zomato and Swiggy have already been doing private label. Zomato every day in a way is a private label, and Swiggy daily also is a private label. I don't know these allegations. We will obviously, investigate. But Anshul, if you can share your 2 cents here, because you exactly know what is happening in that space and how it has also affected your business.
No, sure. I think, we have all seen the playbook, and I think it's been repeatedly said on this call as to what has happened in the delivery business. Commissions have risen, data is now not available. And I think we are seeing the beginning of almost like a new change, which is this whole private label bit. I think both the aggregators have publicly multiple times very vocally said that they will not get into making food. They will not get into setting up their own kitchens. It would be unethical. It's on record. It's all public. And now they have gotten down to setting up their own kitchens, to making their own food. While I think the more popular ones is, of course, Zepto Cafe and Bistro and Snack. But I think what has also been going on is Zomato Everyday and Swiggy Daily, which are both private labels, maybe wrapped in the disguise of home chefs. But essentially, they're controlling the pricing, they're controlling the brand, the visibility on the app. It gets absolutely premium real estate at the top of their main apps. They, of course, have access to all of our data, who is ordering what, when. And now if they've gotten down to setting up kitchens of their own and selling food and competing directly and selling everything from meals to sandwiches to samosas to even Chinese and biryani, I think, the writing is clear on the wall that this needs to stop. And if it doesn't, it will be a threat to, I think, all categories operating around. We have seen the expansion of quick commerce, right? I think in a year or so, they'll have 2,000 locations all across the country. So the threat really is that there could be 2,000 kitchens, which is more than even the largest QSR player in the country, selling private label, selling food, competing with all us restaurants directly. And I think the time is now to put a stop to this. I think this whole ecosystem, we have been, as partners, as restaurateurs, very important in building out this whole ecosystem. And it's very unfair that, at the end of it, a private label comes in and could possibly take away a large.
No, Anshul and Sagar, we are both talking about, private labels. And how it is bad and they have data. Yes, I agree, but I think it is patently illegal too. A marketplace under garb of anything cannot also become a player on their own marketplace, because they have a very massive dominance advantage. They have the advantage of the data. It's as simple as that. And
Anurag,
sorry, Sagar.
It completely questions platform neutrality. Okay, it questions platform neutrality. They have the data now. They have the food. They have the app. They are literally getting into our space. And what is more worrying for me is that the perceived value of products are going to change. A biryani which is perceived 300 rupees will now become perceived at 150 rupees. A samosa perceived to be within, say, 100 rupees will be perceived at 60 rupees. And more importantly, it is their own platforms. They have no pressure of commission cost. They are not charging. And believe you me, they are not charging a delivery fee to their customers, but they're charging delivery fee to our customers, which is absolutely unfair. So, these unfair
यार इनका ओपेकनेस तो बहुत ज्यादा है सागर. देखो वो आज अपने डेटा के पावर से they can change the ratings of a restaurant that is competing with their own brands. They have always been very unilateral in what they did. Despite, I know Sagar, you and Pranav and Zoravar, you guys have made lots of efforts to find a solution. They are like this. In fact, I actually want to go back to Anshul for something. Anshul, if I remember correctly, about a year or two ago, Swiggy or Zomato, I think, actually stopped, delisted you from their platform unless you agreed on an increased delivery fee, increased commission. Is that true? Can you take us through that experience, Anshul?
Sure. I think I'll try to narrate the story briefly. So I think about a couple of years back, we did get delisted for about 3 days, and our entire network across the country was shut down on the platform. The reason was that, one, we had sent WhatsApp, a promotional WhatsApp message to the users that were acquired on Zomato. And second was, of course, a commercial discussion that wasn't going anywhere otherwise. We were called upon and we were only made live again when we agreed upon what they had to make us agree upon, which is not communicating with the users at all. Although we have always believed that the users are as much as ours as they are there. And an increase in commission. And I think a lot of people who may have joined here could be standalone restaurant operators or maybe city level operators, and they may feel that, they are the ones that usually face the heat of the platforms. But I can assure you that, even the national accounts, even the biggest QSRs are all in the same boat, unfortunately.
But Anuragji, I want to just come in here. When this happened with Anshul, we got to know about this much later in the NRAI. But ever since, we've taken a very firm call that if anyone, any operator, whether big or small, is arm twisted in this way, we will all be in this together. And if
मैं तो ये सोच रहा हूँ सागर, if they can do something like this to a significant player like Anshul, what they may be doing with smaller players in smaller towns. It is basically about user dominance. Yeah, it's my way or the highway for a business that is built by us.
It's not what you do. It's not what you do. It's how you do it. And I think we always had a problem with that. I'm saying this very vocally. I know we all have to be in this together. And I think it's been 1.5 years since. I think what this incident did is that it got the entire fraternity united. In a way, it was a blessing in disguise. But I think this unity is our strength. And I am vouching for it. This, we will not let it happen to anyone. I don't think we require anyone to get arm twisted in this way. See, as NRAI, we don't get into commercial discussions, but you cannot pluck someone off and force him to take up commissions, or you cannot pluck someone off because they have used some data. And what are we saying about using of data? I mean, in a best case scenario, someone who's buying from any of the brands are the customers of that brand. They are our customers, right? In a best case scenario, they're customers for both the aggregators and the restaurateurs. So what are we talking about misuse of data? I mean, misuse of data हमारे साथ हो रहा है, गलत हमारे साथ हो रहा है. और अनुराग जी, भगवत गीता में लिखा है, गलत होना खराब है, गलत होने देना भी खराब है. तो कहीं ना कहीं
बिल्कुल
हम तो बहुत क्लियर
सत्य वचन
गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी हमारे हाथ से काफी एक्सटेंट तक डिलीवरी की कंट्रोल जा चुकी है. अब शायद ये डाइनिंग इन में नहीं जाने देंगे और डिलीवरी में हम कैसे इसको वापस लेके आएंगे, हमारा पूरा प्रयास वहीं पे रहेगा. हाँ, हम डायलॉग करेंगे, हम उनसे बात करेंगे. हम अभी भी मानते हैं कि वो पार्टनर्स हैं. बहुत जगह में हमारी अग्रीमेंट होती है, बहुत जगह में हमारी डिसएग्रीमेंट होती है. But to agree to disagree and not get to a resolution, if they will do what's good for them, we will do what's good for us. We have to protect our interest. Now, whether that is
Sagar, that's what I'm saying. None of us are saying that e-commerce is bad for the trade. What we are saying, the way e-commerce is being conducted today by the two aggregators is absolutely counterproductive for the trade. If restaurants don't make money, then how is the industry growing? That's complete rubbish. There is no two ways about it. And one final thing before we move on with this discussion, Sagar. Now we have spoken about whatever it takes we'll do, but I think what is more important is not only to prevent them from coming with the private labels. How do we take back control of our whole delivery ecosystem? E-commerce ये दोनों करते हैं, इसका मतलब नहीं कि इसके अलावा तीसरा कोई कर नहीं सकता है. Let's be very clear. Today in the world of Google, to say they are the only way to discover a restaurant is complete garbage. It's only that they have successfully been able to convert customers to move on to their platforms. But customers, end of the day, go to the platform to search for restaurants.
Sir,
Okay.
absolutely.
So how do you think, one quick word, Sagar and Anshul, how do you think we can take back some amount of control from this, what I call digital zamindars in our delivery space?
Sir, absolutely. देखिए, we have survived before them. We will survive with them. We hope to survive forever. But honestly speaking, yeah, we are fighters. We are food entrepreneurs. We haven't burned tons of money to get to where we are. We are resilient. I think if we could survive COVID, we can survive anything. That's what I feel. But we all have to either come build an ecosystem together. Like for example, in our dialogue with Zomato and Swiggy, I told them that, boss, if you had to really promote quick commerce, you should have done it with us. You should have made quick commerce in Zomato stronger, quick commerce in Swiggy stronger. Why go and launch a separate app? We are happy to work as a platform. I think ये ecosystem तभी बढ़ेगा जब हम सब मिलके discounts कम करेंगे, हम सब मिलके इस पे काम करेंगे. But अगर वो नहीं हो रहा है, we have to look at an alternative. We have to look at a third alternative. Now, whether that is ONDC, whether that's X, Y, Z, we'll have to figure. But trust me, I think we are going to step up the gas in working towards it, because I think, see, one very good highlight that's come out for us. We had a meeting with the ONDC yesterday. A city like Bangalore, 20% of the orders comes from ONDC. It's not a bad start. Why can't we replicate what happened in Bangalore to the rest of the country, right? Why can't we have an open digital platform where we at least get our customer data, we know our customers, right? But on the other lens, dialogue is one thing we will continue doing, but we need resolution. We need them to walk the talk. We just don't need lip service all the time, right? I mean,
by the way, guys, I have a very interesting data with me. We are running these polls. So there is one poll which we did: do Zomato and Swiggy's private labels in quick commerce impact customer utility and pose a business threat? 70% of the people have responded saying yes and impacting business already. Another 23% says yes, but not yet started impacting, and only a meager 7%, which tells me that probably some of the aggregator guys are also listening to us. They said, no, this will grow the market. This is very, very significant when 93% of the people feel that it is not going to help the business.
And I think to add to that, if they feel there is a gap in the market, a particular cuisine type has to be addressed, a particular time of the day has to be addressed, a particular price point has to be addressed, there has to be a dialogue. It could be made public, all of these gaps that they see in the ecosystem today. And यहाँ पर everybody is like a hungry founder, hungry entrepreneur. तो वो लोग आएंगे with solutions. So let it be a collaborative marketplace-like approach rather than doing their own private label and competing directly with the restaurants. And I think, जब ये सब चालू हुआ तब तो बहुत ही छोटा था ecosystem, but restaurants have come up with innovative solutions, products and packaging and cloud kitchens and whatnot. तो अभी भी अगर कुछ gaps लगते हैं तो public करो, and all of us will come up with innovative solutions, but no point of doing it really themselves.
All right. We are also getting some comments from people, and I'm going to pick up randomly. One of them here is, somebody says there is an issue where these aggregators automatically apply discount. This Swapnil Shahade, wherever he's writing, aggregator practices in India make a strong case for CCI to investigate. I think the mood of the room is very, very clear. I think what we are talking about are the issues that everybody is facing, and it is having an adverse impact on the entire industry. There are no two ways about it. We may look at it differently. We may say that, okay, for a newbie, for example, somebody starting afresh, it may be great to get a visibility, but overall, I think it is not really helping the trade grow profitably. And I repeat the word profitability. अगर कोई भी ग्रोथ बिना प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी के है तो उसको मैं ग्रोथ नहीं मानता हूं. That is not a growth. The primary idea of doing any business is to make money. Their idea may be different, where they're happy losing thousands of crores. For us, we have to pay our bills. We cannot do that. Anyways, guys, thank you, Sagar and Anshul, for your brilliant insights into the delivery business and how they are impacting. One of the most shocking things was how they arm twist. Even bigger players. Imagine what they are doing with some new cloud kitchen player. They may be just steamrolling over them. Anyway, let's move on our discussion to two other very distinguished people, Gauri Devi Dayal, we all know her, and Thomas. Guys, we spoke very, at length about how uh, the dining in business is also going to have very adverse impact of these guys coming in. Two of the things that is going to impact us very badly is the whole reservation system and the insistence of these guys to use the payment gateway, and the reason is very simple. They want to collect the customer data, and that's the best way to do. And once they have the payment gateway, then they can also fund discounts and cashbacks, etc. But I am not an expert on that. We have the in-house tech wizard Thomas, as well as Gauri, who is very, very vocal about these issues, to speak about this issue. Welcome, Gauri and Thomas.
Thank you, Anuragji. So I'll just pick up this idea of the combining of reservations through the payment gateway platform. Let's just go back and break up the customer journey, right? There's the discovery of the restaurant, which is what Riaz touched upon at the beginning, and that comes into like a marketing sort of bucket. There's the actual reservation once a customer's made a choice to go somewhere. Then there's what happens to the serving the customer, their journey in the restaurant, and then of course the final bit, which is the payment part, right? What's happening here is that in order to acquire those reservations, the aggregators are demanding that the payment also happen through their platform. Now, we've in the restaurant business, we've been doing this forever. We've been getting reservations through other mediums for, ever since we've been running restaurants. Those continue to exist, right? Whether it's direct calls, whether it's Google, whatever those platforms are that have been working for us, they continue to be there, and we had full control. Today, what's happening is that we're being asked to give up that control to aggregators. But not only that, that just because they're bringing in the customer through the door, and after that, it's in our hands to upsell, to give them a great experience. They want a piece of that entire pie that we are bringing in through our efforts in the restaurant. In the case of delivery, there's a tech aspect, and then there's a fulfillment aspect, which sort of justifies a higher commission possibly. But in the case of reservations, there is absolutely no need for us to be paying a commission-based fee. There are plenty of platforms out there that are charging fixed fees, and that is what we should be demanding from the aggregators, to de-link the payment gateway from the reservations aspect. We've been hearing stories from senior restaurateurs talking about how until now they were getting reservations through the platforms, and customer data was being shared. Suddenly overnight that's been stopped, and they're getting reservations, but without the customer data. A lot of those reservations are no shows, and there's no way of checking in and following up with the customer to see if they're coming in. And this is their way of arm twisting you to sign on to the dine-in platform, so that you then also have to pay these commissions on your entire billing. It's being presented as beneficial to the customer to have a one-stop shop as a mode of payment, but that's not the case. Today, customers are paying using credit cards, GPay, whatever they want. There are plenty of options. They pay cash. There's no necessity for them to use only one platform to fulfill the payment part of it. So, I think we need to be a little strong here about understanding that the reservations are indeed valuable to fulfill capacity, but there should be a fixed fee program, and it does not need to be linked to the final billing. And we certainly should not be paying a commission-based fee for reservations, because there is no involvement of the aggregator in how much that bill ends up being. So this is just something that I think we need everybody to understand this so that you can have this dialogue with your RMs and insist collectively that we come together and insist on the delinking of the payment gateway with the reservations part of it. I think that the key thing here, guys, is that just like with delivery, we've been hearing this for the last hour or so from everyone, about how a habit has been created through the aggregator apps, and we're about to see the same thing happen with dine-in if we don't put our foot down now. So this is where the importance of understanding why reservations needs to be separated from payment is critical. And I'll pass it over to Thomas to talk a little bit more about the payment gateway aspect.
Thanks, Gauri. I'd just like to build on a little bit more on what Gauri just said right now. So we have to understand the mechanism that is being used over here, right? Let's take the example of table reservation and payment gateways. One is an essential service, right? Like, it is in the restaurant's interest to be able to kind of take reservations in its, like, to manage capacity better, to kind of make promises to customers also in terms of what is available when. So from an operational standpoint, table reservation independently is an essential service. And this is good for restaurants. Platforms must offer it as a service or otherwise, and this is good. Payment gateways or payment methods today, as it stands, is an essential service in itself, but it's not really. You have multiple options available in the market already, and it comes to a restaurant also at a fairly low cost only because there are multiple options in the market. You can pay via UPI, you can pay via cash, you can pay via credit cards, you can pay via, there's every single method available to a customer today is available at a restaurant, right? So honestly, there is no incremental value by accepting a Zomato Pay or a Swiggy Pay on behalf of a restaurant. There's actually no incremental value or incremental service that they're providing objectively from a service point of view. Now, the mechanism that is happening, and Zomato and Swiggy knows this, every platform that offers a payment gateway knows this, that incrementally what we're offering is convenience, and incrementally what we're offering is maybe some way of reducing price for a customer on that transaction. So the mechanism that they're using right now to kind of increase engagement on adoption of these payment gateways, such as Zomato Pay or Dine Out Pay or Swiggy Pay for that matter, is to bundle. That is to bundle an essential service such as table reservation with a non-essential service, which is payment, like a payment gateway. So why do they do that? Is to kind of also say that, look, if you don't take my payment gateway, I will not offer table reservation to you. And this is problematic. A like-for-like example of how this played out in the delivery business was that they said, we will not allow you to offer your products for delivery on the platform if you do not take our delivery service. So today, as a seller on Zomato Swiggy, you actually cannot deliver your own food, even if you are able to do it better, faster, cheaper. You just cannot. So it always began with the choice of delivering on your own, and then slowly but steadily they took that option away. We expect, but I mean, I'm saying we've been also in this business for a while. We've seen how this has gone. We expect that this will exactly the same thing will happen with payment gateways also. While today you might have an option to maybe delink, or you won't have to pay a commission. They might excite you with zero commission, zero payment gateways. They might pay you money to kind of accept their payment platform or offer it as an option. The long tail effects of this are pretty straightforward. What we are doing is, number one, you are unnecessarily handing over customer information. When I mean customer information, I'm not just talking about personally identifiable information. I'm saying you're giving us like a good view into what the size of your business is, number one. Number two, you are ceding control of a very important pipe. See, price and how much a customer pays at the end of the day is a very, very strong, guiding factor in demand. We as restaurants, we also compete with each other. Sure, we compete on product and the quality of the product, but we also communicate this value only through price. So when you give away the pipe of a payment platform, you are effectively also giving them the option to discount the same payment platform, and that behavior is irreversible. Anshul and Sagar and all of the people who are heavy hitters in the delivery business will rightly testify to the fact that today it is not an option to go back to where things were before. So I think we have to learn from our mistakes. We have to learn from what has happened in the delivery business. We don't need to unnecessarily cede control or take on services which are actually not useful or add any incremental value to the restaurant business. We've always been, the restaurant industry has always been tech forward. We've been adopters of technology, be it from a data perspective or be it from trying to improve customer service using technology. So this is not coming from a perspective that all technology is bad. We have to be a little more intelligent and razor sharp intelligent right now, because where we are going right now is actually very, very, very irreversible. And so what can we do here, right? See, this is all hyperbole. What can we do here? I think we must insist on delinking essential services from non-essential. In this particular example, if you are told by your POCs from a Zomato or a Swiggy or any other platform for that matter, that we will only give you service A if you take service B also, your headlight should immediately turn on. That's an alarm bell right there. Why would someone insist on you having to take a certain bundle of services without, if the product is good, it will speak for itself, right?
Very well said. Very well said, Thomas. Very well said.
So insisting on delinking is a critical aspect in your future journey. We were not able to do this in the delivery business, and I'm saying that we are suffering because of it. The final frontier is the dine-in, the dine-in business, which is a much larger business as it stands today as delivery. So, which is why, I totally understand, why platforms would be licking their lips at this, because this is where the real meat is on the bones, and we're on the precipice.
Thank you so much, Thomas. I mean, it was very well articulated, and I really, understand one thing. If somebody is insisting, unless you do this, I won't give you this. That means he's telling you that there is an ulterior motive out there. Wake up. We have made the mistakes in the delivery business. Let's not make the mistake in the dining business. भाई आज सोच लो ना, अगर आज डाइनिंग इन बिजनेस आपका चल रहा है तो चल रहा है ना. What more can they do? They can bring in more people, but if you have to offer discounts on every transaction, then that also goes away. And these customers who are coming to you will also become their customers. Anyways, thank you so much, Thomas and Gauri, for your views on the subject. I think it's going to help everybody understand where we stand today. So, guys, now we have discussed about the larger issues around dining in and delivery business, etc., etc. Now, these are at a very high level where we have spoken about how these policies are bad. And I think one thing which none of us have spoken is that India needs a very, 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 very well thought out e-commerce policy, which is in the making. And I must inform everybody out here that NRAI is also making some contribution towards drafting of that policy. What we really need to now get into is, and we really wanted to hear from, the individual experiences of people. So what we are going to do is, now we are going to take up chapter heads of different cities for a very quick insight into what is happening in the chapter and how are these aggregators impacting the real life examples. So I'm going to begin with Praful Chandavarkar, who he was the guy who created the Pune chapter for us, a very, very seasoned restaurateur, part of the National Core Committee of NRAI now. And he's going to speak about what are the specific challenges that you face on the ground in these cities. Let's start with Praful now. Praful, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Anuragji. One of the most united movements we had many years back before Zomato became public was that they came into Pune, being a city which is known for having a younger population, a vibrant culture. They brought in a product called Zomato Gold, and which was a direct dine-in product. And a lot of us then were not aware of what would happen with it, so we experimented with it. Now, this is very important to know that many of us signed on to Zomato Gold for a dine-in, initiative by Zomato. And in a short 30 days, I realized that this was disastrous. So we got Pune together as a fraternity and we locked them out. Riaz and I would speak about this when he was leading that movement in Mumbai. And I think the two cities really took the battle to Zomato and Zomato Gold, and they'd gotten a lot of queries to by their investors on why they were pursuing this line in the cities like Pune and Mumbai. So I always feel that cities like ours, which have a large number of restaurants, the fraternities should stick together because the current chapter head Saili Jagirdar and the co-chapter head Ajinkya Udane did like a survey, with all the dine-in restaurants and home delivery kitchens that we have in this growing city, and we came out with so many points like discounting, deep discounting, which is very extreme. Larger the investment in advertising, then you climb up. There's no organic growth in that. Brands are forced to, have price parity across online ordering platforms. When we argue that prices can vary depending on commissions, I mean, we should be able to do that. Not allowed to do that. There is zero customer data, which we've been begging for so long, that let us know the people who are ordering from our brands, and we don't have that. Delivery agent details are not shared. They're also masked. So if a delivery agent makes a mistake, we can't chase that person. We can't kind of serve any initiative towards hospitality. That's what we are part of. We are in hospitality industry. If an order goes belly up, we are forced to pay up, even if the delivery agent has mucked it up. Uh, Swiggy directly deducts amounts over customer complaints without restaurant consent or validation of genuinity of orders. Non-customers are allowed to also put post reviews. The credibility of Zomato and Swiggy reviews is at an all-time low. We don't respect it at all as a fraternity. Zomato promotes brands that sign up for Zomato hygiene audits. I mean, just imagine an aggregator doing hygiene audits on the industry, which they have absolutely zero authority on, but they're forcing us to do that. It's ridiculous. I mean, the complaints just keep, the pain points are tremendous. And
Uh, Praful, sorry if I may just quickly interrupt you.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
what you're saying is that these guys try to exert their presence across things which were not even legally or technically their
Absolutely.
domain. And
Absolutely.
coming to
Absolutely
Zomato
not their
Gold,
domain.
Praful, for people who
Yeah.
are not well aware, you know what was Zomato Gold at that time? So this was a
Right.
loyalty program which was to be bought. We always thought loyalty is to be earned. Zomato thought you can sell
Correct.
it. So there were
Yes.
people who were paying Zomato to take Zomato Gold this thing
Right.
subscription. Zomato गोल्ड क्या था डिस्काउंट था वो डिस्काउंट कौन दे रहा था रेस्टोरेंट फंड कौन कर रहा था रेस्टोरेंट और रेस्टोरेंट को जोमेटो गोल्ड में आने के लिए भी बाद में पैसे देने पड़ते थे और ये सब पैसा कौन
Correct.
ले रहा था बीच में जोमेटो साला ना तुम्हारा
Right.
प्रोडक्ट भैया ना तुम्हारा प्रोडक्ट ना तुम्हारे कस्टमर तुम सिर्फ बीच में बैठ के यू आर द ओनली वन हु आर मेकिंग मनी आउट ऑफ इट and the only one
Correct.
losing money was us restaurateurs till we called it out. The log out
Right.
happened. So this is a
So,
typical behavior of what I
so
call a digital landlord, a digital zamindar.
absolutely, absolutely. So, Anurag ji, what we realized in Pune was we started sharing a lot of knowledge with our fraternity, and then we realized that we need to build ability. Riaz mentions this off and on, so does Zoravar, that we need to build ability in our product. Ultimately, an aggregator is a tool, guys. It's a tool that we have to be able to use to create a better product for the market space. They are not going to be anything else but a tool. We should build ability in our product. We should be able to collaborate with them and create experiences which are really genuine, which allow us to exhibit our hospitality, whether it is in home delivery or whether it is in the dine-in space. But that tool can only be that. We should be able to use that tool, nothing else. They cannot dominate us. It is absolutely not allowed. So this is a movement that we have been continuously pushing, where we can share knowledge and improve the market space. You try and get your best practices out, and we try and improve the the ambience, the services, the purchase quality, even the food safety part of it, the nutrition density, and we create a market space of our own, which is absolutely beautiful. which we can then push forward through the tools which are or who can be the aggregators. This is something that we are doing
Thank you.
constantly in the Pune market. Thank you, Anuragji.
Thank you so much, Praful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Praful. And I'm sure it's helpful to everyone. You know, I was reading out a couple of comments earlier from what people are writing online to us. I'm going to read out a few more before we move on to the next one. So this is Arnav Bhattacharya writing. If a group of well-known restaurants start leaving these platforms beginning with off-peak hours, it could potentially disrupt the existing dynamics and reshape the market. Unity is essential now. We need a collective strategy that everybody can follow to drive meaningful change. Absolutely, absolutely well spoken, Arnav. We totally agree with you. Suraj Sham is writing, Swiggy Daily Snack and Bowl Company food comes from the same kitchen in Indiranagar, Bangalore, and it's operating under Bundle Technologies. There we go. We have always insisted, as much as they may like to say that these are different companies and entities, it is not. And I am going to read out one more poll result before we move on to the next speaker. And this is a question we posed to her. Do you think your customer data is essential and necessary in bettering customer experience? We got around 250 to 237 votes. Yes says 92%, no says 4%, doesn't matter 2%. So that is how, if aggregators, if you're listening to us, this is how important the data is for us. End of the day, the customers that you claim to be yours are consuming what we are cooking and selling. You are just a medium. It's like, an agent saying that I own the business. It doesn't work like that. All right, moving on, guys. I'm going to continue with a few more people from various chapters. We are coming. I know it's getting a little longer, guys. I really request you to hold on. We are coming towards the end of it. A few more dialogues before we go to Q&A. Next up is Deepti. She is the chapter head for Vadodara. Now, why do we have Deepti here? Of course, because she is somebody very vocal. She knows the subject, but also because she represents a city which is otherwise, not on the what I call a tier 1 city. It's tier 2 cities, and problems may differ. I believe these rampaging aggregators are probably hurting tier 2 operators more than tier 1. So over to you, Deepti. Deepti, are you there?
Hi, sorry, I was in mute. Thank you, Anuragji. A quick correction. I am the co-chapter head and Nitin is the chapter head of Baroda. Just very quickly summing up a quick profile of a tier 2 city or tier 3 city person, right? Or tier 2, tier 3 city business. We are smaller in size. The distances that customers have to cover is lesser. So people are willing and wanting to go out and dine. There are definitely more relationships at play. People like to be able to go and talk to the owner, like to go and be able to establish a link with the manager of a restaurant, saying that, I know you, let's do this for my family today, or I'm getting a bunch of people here today and, please take care of them. So that relationship at play is very present in our businesses. And the most important thing today is there is a whole need to be aspiration like tier 1. So the entire business, what used to be, and let's segregate it into online and offline first. So the online business at one point, what used to be 18 to 20% of our pie is now growing to slowly 32%, some places 34%. And this is tier 3, not just tier 2 I'm talking about, right? This is just from data that I've collected over the last 1 week. So clearly there is a trend where people want to be aspirational like tier 1, want to be able to take on and order in as well, right? What does this do? Obviously, this puts in more pressure on all of us where we have to invest in more marketing, more deep discounting, and to be able to remain profitable, either we have to then, have a differential pricing online or then bite into the share of our margins, which is, I'm guessing, that the true thing everywhere. We look as the villain in the eyes of the customer, whereas the aggregators tend to look as those kind of people jo aap mere paas aao and I will give you the discount, that kind of a thing. So that's on the offline play. Online though, that's on the online play. On offline, I still think that tier 2 and tier 3 have a lot in their hands still, right? Unlike tier 1, we do not have as many people coming in and using reservations and coming into our dine-in spaces. We still have a lot of control on that. People who've been taking reservations continue to do that and get reservations over the phone, or people come in person and reserve when they have large bookings as well. So if we are able to withhold that and not let aggregators push us into creating this whole FOMO structure where आप नहीं हो, आपके पास कम धंधा आएगा, that will be really, really good. Sentiments that play out obviously from a customer's angle is, अरे आप नहीं हो Zomato Gold पे, you're not on Dine Out. Those questions do arise, right? But people here are a little bit more open to listening to the fact that our margins get compromised in these kind of places. Commissions come into play, and that's when the customer is also a little bit more open to saying that, no, I'll pay you directly, or I will not use Zomato Gold or Swiggy Dine Out as a payout. Because for people who have already taken on reservations, that payout option does not get switched off even at non-reservation times, right? So that play is still in our hands in tier 2, tier 3. It's very important that people do not let this go. As Riyaz sir said, as Praful sir said, I think it's critical that we stop being lazy. It's important that we put in our monies on CRM. It's important we create our own loyalty programs. It's important that the offline customer coming in from Zomato, Swiggy, or dining in directly with us get treated equally, such that hospitality prevails and not deep discounting or not aggregators and them pushing their customers to us or our customers back to us through them. Right? So that's my small take on tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Anuragji, any more things that you want to know specifically?
No, thank you, Deepti. Unfortunately, we are running very long. So I'm going to keep it a little shorter at this hour because we want to keep some time for the Q&A. That's very important. Right now we are talking. It's very important to listen to people and answer to their queries. So very quickly moving on to Kavita from Hyderabad. Kavita is doing some phenomenal job in Hyderabad, and she's going to shed her views quickly on this whole issue of aggregator dominance and whether it's helping us or not. Over to you, Kavita.
Thank you, Mr. Katria. Very quickly, I want to share two specific examples from Hyderabad. Although we're seeing a lot of the national players come in, we've predominantly been a market of standalone restaurants. And we're seeing dramatic differences between the large players and the small players. So for all the small players out there, there's actually a very, very concerning trend. Specifically, I'd like to, we're looking at commission rates of 10 to 14% for a larger player. Whereas most standalone restaurants are paying anywhere between 23 to 26, which all nets out to about 30 to 32. So can you even afford to do well on the platforms is the question that I asked. And very sadly, I have to narrate that one of my very close friends and a supporter of NRAI, legendary brands in Bengali food, Sarkar's Kitchen, saw a dramatic increase in their online performance in their delivery market. Their business went from 50% to 70% of their total. And unfortunately realized that shave off of 32% plus whatever their food cost was just wasn't something they were able to afford, and is very sadly shutting down at the end of this month. I mean, these are real stories of how not paying attention to how we're engaging with them. And as Praful said, how we're using this tool is actually impacting us. I also want to, on the dine out end, specifically relate a story of a brand that I launched a year back. We were called Ciao, the pasta bar, obviously serving Italian food. It was a new brand. You're looking to not just be able to serve your customers and have the logistics delivered online, but you really have these hope-colored glasses, which thinks that you're going to be getting all these new customers in. So we went all out on all the platforms, did the dine-in, did the 20% discount, off-peak, so on and so forth. And we realized after checking the systems for a little while that for the kind of spend that we had, we were not showing up anywhere on these platforms. Even for the term pasta sitting in my own restaurant, I would actually not show up on the listings. So this hope that we have of discoverability and of getting new customers from these platforms is actually completely a myth. And what we actually landed up doing was offering 20% discount to those who were searching specifically for us, and thus turning our existent customer into a discount customer. And that's when we actually completely rebranded, got off all the platforms, have gone dine-in only, and actually now stand some hope of being a viable entity.
You're so right, Kavita. This is the mistake most of us have made. We allowed them an entry, and they used the dollar dumping that capabilities that they had to convert our customers into their own. So thank you for your insight. Next up, very quickly, I'm gonna rush it a bit. Sorry, guys. Is Gandharv Dingra from Chennai? Gandharv, your views quickly. Gandharv, are you with us? Are you on mute? Just check your thing.
Thank you, Anuragji. Vanakkam to all. We are all here in Chennai together attending this town hall. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Anuragji, I believe that any business or any relationship is started on trust. If you look at what happened in the last decade, that we trusted new advent of technology, aggregators coming in, saying that they'll expand the ecosystem, reach more consumers. That definitely happened. But along with that, a lot of challenges which came up, which have surprised us, all of us, and a lot of us have also spoken over it. First and foremost, I believe in any business, transparency is very, very important. Now, it was our consumer which went on to the platform for convenience, and they are currently coming on an app and ordering from a brand. So what is the harm in sharing that data? What is the pain point in letting us know that this is the customer, that is what their preference is, or we can also understand that how their ordering pattern is, so we can also rework, do things better, make our menus better, make things faster, streamline our operations. So it's a win-win for the aggregators, for us, for the consumer at the end. But what is the harm of hiding all this, masking all this, under what pretext that nobody is able to fathom out till now? Secondly, I feel now, we are talking a lot about private labels coming in, and they are obviously, which I feel is absolutely against being platform neutrality. Now, I'll quote you an example from our very own Chennai member. This is a couple of years back when one of the aggregators used to run private labels. So his restaurant was like opposite doors, half a kilometer away. Peak times, his restaurant will suddenly become unserviceable. But the aggregator private label, there will be a stream of delivery boys standing there to pick up orders, and they will be available on the app. If I'm a consumer, I want to order. It's quick commerce, e-commerce. So why if something is not serviceable, obviously go ahead and order what is there. So again, transparency in terms of looking at now we are asked to spend on marketing. Now, what is the transparency in a certain report? We see the data numbers, we see what is the algo which is running. We have no clarity, right, on those fronts. Secondly, I would talk about, now we are already grappling under high commissions, cost of discovery, discounting. Now, if a new restaurateur who, with a lot of passion, putting their sweat and blood, comes in, starts a venture, they are being charged atrocious amount of commissions, like Kavita was mentioning just now. I mean, somebody who has done so much hard work, taken the plunge, they need the maximum support at that stage, which is, I mean, the carpet is being pulled from under them, which is, I feel as a fraternity, we always want to support who comes together. That's what NRAI is all about, right? That's what we do when somebody comes in. We want to support them in helping them with vendors, providing whatever details we can. But on the other hand, an aggregator community which should actually support somebody who's coming up, bringing something more to the ecosystem, that's absolutely not happening. So for the long haul is what I feel is that we need to collectively think together, think through what is the ground we have lost because of the decisions we took in the delivery space should not happen on the dining front, right? And to sum it up all, I would like to say, as our Honorable Prime Minister once said, that government has no business to be in business. Marketplace enablers should have no business to be in the marketplace.
So very well said, Gandharv. In fact, you made a very nice point about these two restaurants. One was aggregator kitchen, one was other. This is what I call misusing the power of data, and that's the reason they don't want to share the data with us, because they can use the data exclusively to further their own market. See, basically, I think very, very clearly, I don't think they really think from the prism of what is right and what is not. They do what they think is right. All right, my final, panelist for this afternoon is Chetan Hegde, our Bangalore chapter head, and I would request Chetan to quickly, just sum up his experience about what is happening vis-a-vis aggregators in Bangalore before we move on to a closing remark and the Q&A, which is most important. Just sum up his experience about what is happening vis-a-vis aggregators in Bangalore before we move on to
and unmute.
Sum up his experience what is happening. I am absolutely quiet and I can hear my voice.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think since I'm speaking last, most of the points have been discussed about whatever is happening between the aggregators and everything. Few quick points are the disparity in commissions, then discounts are applied randomly. And the biggest thing is how restaurants are rated and there is no transparency in, is there any science behind the rating? We don't know how any restaurant shows up at 4.8 or somebody at 3.8. That is a big thing. And now with the white label coming in, what stops them from meddling with ratings of restaurants who are on Zomato and to drive traction to the white label thing. So since we have spoken about all the problems that are happening, I would like to bring an example like how Anshul was locked out. There was a very good company called Amir3 in Bangalore. They were also locked out. But Suraj from Amir3 decided not to go back to them and started his own force of delivery. And they're doing amazingly well with more than 300 deliveries a day kind of a thing. And he stuck to it, saying that I'm not succumb to your whims and fancies and you're not going to be the my buy of our business. So here in Bangalore, we always talk about our infrastructure problems and everything. And it's just coffee table discussions. I think we have spoken enough. All the stalwarts of the industry are here. And being restaurateurs, we are the most resilient businessmen. We have seen all kinds of difficulties when we run a restaurant. I think it's high time that we take a stance and say what we are going to do about these problems. Like if we, now with the white label coming in, if we don't stand together as a community and take action, and do something decisive, it will be that we are carrying our cross up the hill slowly but surely. So we need to pull up our socks, stay united and take a call. We all know what the problems are. How are we going to fight this out and how are we going to stand together to make a difference so that at the end of the day, the money that we are earning comes to us and to our staff and the benefits that are going to goes to our customers. And that's how the industry can survive, I suppose. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Chetan. And I think we have all spoken about the same things, and I think problems are very similar everywhere, and I think solutions are also in the horizon. I'm not saying we are going to come out with a solution, but let's understand the problems first and agree on the problem statements, and I'm sure in our collective wisdom we'll find the right solution. If we stand united, we will have a solution. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, what I would suggest now is I will request Pranav Rungta, our Vice President at NRAI, who is a very, very important force, in the behind the scene activities that we see at NRAI, to quickly sum up this discussion before we open up the Q&A. Over to you, Pranav.
Pranav, you're on mute.
Thank you, Anurag. Thank you for the kind introduction. Just to sum up, this has been a massive town hall that we've done, the biggest till now. There are over 5,000 viewers. More than 3,000 people have engaged in Q&As and polls which we've been doing. And I think the heat is out, right? If anyone's seeing the chat, you're understanding where the sentiment is, where the mood is moving towards. And I think it's very important that going forward from now, the biggest thing that we ask for you is just please stay united. Unity is the only thing that is going to help us achieve the results that we want to. We have sort of given away a part of our business. They are helping us in that part of the business. They are adding some value over there. In certain places, that value doesn't actually materialize into financial benefits, but
that's okay. But we've got a very large chunk of our business which we still need to retain. I think a lot of us understand this now. The poll results are saying the same thing. So we are in constant dialogue with these guys, Sagar, Thomas, Zoravar, myself, and the entire trustees. We've met them. We're talking to them. We're trying to find a solution. They are amicable in a few things. In a few things, they've got a hard stand, and we are going to fight that in any forum required, be it courts, be it CCI, be it pleading the governments, meeting the ministers. We are at it. We're going to keep doing this, and we just need your support. Thank you, everyone, for signing up for this town hall, and we will open up to questions now. Request you to please put your questions on the chat stream. Some of you have already put questions. We've picked those up, and we're going to just answer them quickly. Anuragji, you want to take these questions, please?
Thank you, Pranab. Before I take up the question, I think one more poll result has just come in. So let me share that. The question was, do you feel the advertising spends on aggregators platforms have transparency and parity? And the response is no, say 63%, yes, say 36%, and this is with about 154 restaurateurs actually voting. So I think the mood in the room is very, very clear. Let's move on to now Q&A. People have put on lots of questions on the chat, and I'm going to pick up a few of them randomly, and it is open to everyone. So I would request every panelist to be kindly, you unmute and you can answer what you feel. Okay, 1 second. I'll just pick up. Okay, first thing is, this is from Jasjeet Singh. And I think, Sagar, you are best suited to answer this. How ONDC can enable us to take control back in our hands, asks Jasjeet Singh. Maybe you should answer this.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for this question. I feel happy to say that, yesterday we had a very, very solid and comprehensive meeting with the ONDC. In Bangalore, what we did in the last 1 year with ONDC, out of the total amount of delivery orders that happened, 20% comes via ONDC. So we made, we did the pilot, we made mistakes, we learned. With all these learnings, now we want to go national with it. Yes, ONDC could be that third alternative. I think it is working very well for many of the brands. Personally for me at Wow Momo, we do close to 1 lakh of orders in ONDC. I think this platform is here to stay and grow. What we at NRAI will do is that along with all the brands together, we are going to add a lot of, we're going to step up the gas to quicker. We had a great meeting yesterday and some very good news coming very, very soon. Don't want to reveal it all right now because, we're yet to get the parameters and the confirmation on writing. But I promise you that we will be doing a town hall for ONDC. Many of the restaurants don't know how to get onboarded in ONDC. Many of the restaurants don't know how ONDC works. We will do a proper knowledge town hall on ONDC and how ONDC can build your delivery business. It would happen next month and be glued to the date and do participate. But I can promise you that, together we will work towards making ONDC part of that third alternative and whatever else we can do to ensure that, we at least get our data. Delivery costs are cheaper. And let's give consumer the best possible product at the lowest price without offering deep discounts. The minute our commissions become cheaper, the minute we don't have the pressure of deep discounting, I think we can go all out there and make our P&L viable. I think ONDC is that one big platform and we should all push for it. I honestly request all of you, do come forward, join on to ONDC, and we will very, very soon share a knowledge session and a workshop.
Thank you, Sagar. I think Anuragji is not accessible, but I'm going to take up another question. Rahul Batra asks, what is one marketing activity that you did that really helped you with discovery or sales? I open this up to anyone on the panel, please.
I have a bit of a slightly different answer to this. I think the biggest marketing activity that you can ever do to drive in more sales is just focus on the brass tacks. Word of mouth was, is, and will always remain the absolute fundamental best way to get sticky customers. I think if you just focus on the basics, great food, great service, beautiful ambience, well-maintained ambience, more than even beautiful, it should be well-maintained. then word of mouth can play a role, I think, better than any other form of marketing. So focus on the basics. Roti achhi hai, roti changi hai, te sab kuch theek hi hona hai. So I think it's very important for us to kind of focus on the basics. But just to add on now, to go slightly technical, I think one of the key weapons that you can harness and wield very effectively is performance marketing. But you have to be sensible about the spends. It is very technical, so not everybody has it. Maybe at some point I'll request Sagar to also organize a workshop around performance marketing, because it's fairly democratic. It can be done individually. It can even be done by the restaurateur themselves or the team members themselves. But focus on careful technical aspects. Look at the parameters. Sometimes हम restaurateur क्या करते हैं कि हम बाकी सब चीज पे बहुत खर्चा करते हैं, लेकिन marketing पे करते ही नहीं है. तो आप सबसे अच्छा खाना शायद बना रहे हो, शायद आपके रेस्टोरेंट में इतने अच्छे शेफ हों, बहुत बढ़िया खाना हो, आपकी लोकेशन भी ठीक ठाक हो और सब कुछ आपका अच्छा हो, लेकिन अगर लोगों को पता ही नहीं कि वो रेस्टोरेंट वहाँ एग्जिस्ट करता है, तो वो लोग आएंगे कैसे? So I think marketing is very, very crucial. But the best way to market is always word of mouth. And the second I would say is just use performance marketing. And performance marketing, I mean, obviously on the online, not necessarily on the aggregator platforms, but on Facebook and Meta. Facebook and Meta can make you reach very large base. There was a time, मेरे को याद है, जब हमने अपना एक delivery चालू किया था, तो हम ads सिर्फ performance marketing के जरिए करते थे, and the order takes and the conversions were very, very high. So I think focus on a little bit of performance marketing, but more importantly focus on great fundamentals. सबसे अच्छे जो रेस्टोरेंट होते हैं उनको eventually जाके marketing spend और कम करना पड़ता है. अगर आपकी फंडामेंटल स्ट्रांग है तो वो मार्केटिंग का स्पेंड कम होता रहेगा, और अगर फंडामेंटल्स में वीकनेस है तो आपको और पैसे डालने पड़ेंगे टू लेट मोर एंड मोर पीपल नो अबाउट योर प्रोडक्ट.
Thank you, Zorawar. Pranav, you want to do the questions, or should I just come up with the questions?
I can do that. Okay, I want to take one on ONDC just because there have been a few of this. So Suresh Kumar Yerapati asks, in ONDC, you have to go through Ola or Magic Pin, which will already be similar to Zomato and Swiggy. National brands can go directly to ONDC as sellers, but as a standalone outlet, we would still have to go through an aggregator, which is still not encouraged. This is one question I think we need to answer. And Sagar, you want to take this or?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, ONDC here is not being an aggregator. They are being a seller, a buyer app in a way, right? I mean, the buyer comes into their app and buys stuff, and you become the seller. You become a listed seller. They are the so basically, I'll tell you what, the mechanism of the ONDC will be very different. Your commission will be between 3% to maximum 7%. That will also include your logistical cost to start off with. It's going to be much cheaper. Trust me, guys. I think what we need to do as a fraternity is that we need to all ensure that we are providing the lowest possible pricing on ONDC. If we are able to do that, and our pricing in ONDC is cheaper than a Swiggy or a Zomato, I think ONDC will definitely click for you. We will come back with more contours, but trust me, it's not going to be like aggregators. Your data comes to you. You know your customer. It is not like aggregators. It's very, very different. That's why it's called an open network. So we will do a workshop on this, but trust me, you will not be harassed by the pressures of aggregators. It's your business. You do what you want to, but trust me, the commissions will be lower, much, much lower.
Thank you, Sagar. The next question is from Nishchit Prem, and I think Riaz should answer this. This is the question to all speakers. He writes. He says, in online aggregator platform, why lesser sales and higher commissions? Why do they fail to keep it balanced between sales and commission? This is a question by Nishchit Prem. Riaz, you want to answer this?
I'm not fully understood the question. Anurag is saying, why is there a balance between high commissions?
Why there is no balance between they give you lesser business but still charge high commissions is what he's basically saying.
Well, I think they will negotiate your commissions with you based on how desperate you are. I think it's just that you have to be able to, have the strength to negotiate your commissions the way you feel is fit. Because there's no guarantee at the end of the day. They will just hedge their bets. The customer makes the decision where they're going to go. So you just have to keep pushing and make sure that you get. We recommend that we don't even get into the commission structure, stick to advertising, and use it as a platform to push your own offers, which you're offering to all your customers. Use these aggregator platforms to push as a channel to push those offers. Right? Don't create special offers for these things.
Nisha, to add to what Mr. Amlani is saying, unfortunately, we have created this big, Frankenstein where it's very difficult to get off easily. Commission is a matter of this thing. Unless we all unite, NRAI had taken a stand at one point of time that your delivery cost remains the same, whether you're delivering a 200 rupee dish or 2000 rupee dish. Why can't you link your delivery commission to the order value? But obviously, as expected, they have not agreed to that. But to answer your question, they are very clear. We can decide what commissions we charge, but they can't guarantee any business. That's the unfortunate truth. I don't know if that's the answer you were seeking, but that's what the reality is. Next question is from Aryaman Gupta. You mentioned that Zomato says food delivery business has stagnated. Is this an industry slowdown? Who's going to take this up? Thomas?
I think I mentioned that.
So you take this up, yeah.
No, I mean, they have penetrated the markets as much as possible. It's getting more difficult to recruit new customers for the delivery business. So their focus now is on dining out because they've reached a peak performance, and unless and until they don't grow their business year on year, by 20-30%, that's going to have a very negative impact because the bottom line, the valuations and the share capital that they're getting is because of growth. Once the growth stagnates, it's going to really impact the stakeholder value. So now they're trying different things from different angles. They're trying, dining out. They're trying experiences. They're pushing that because they've already maxed out the penetration of a customer for delivery. Thomas, maybe you can add a little more light to this.
So they've actually got fingers in three specific pies, right? Number one is deliveries, number two is groceries, and number three is dine-in. These are broadly the three pies that they've got their action in, right? Delivery has stagnated. All of that 90, I don't know the exact number, but a good, like at least 80 to 85% of all delivery revenues are coming from 8 cities, right? So it is stagnated. So which means that if they want to spur growth, they are now doubling down on groceries and they're doubling down on dine-in and experiences. So which is why you're now seeing this action, like in terms of 10-minute food delivery on their grocery app or being owned by subsidiaries, which is their grocery app. So that's where the shift is. They're trying to spur growth from the grocery front and from the dine-in front. And this is something that we have to be wary about. But to answer the question, I think the stagnation is industry-wide. Especially in the months of November and December, from a food delivery perspective, there has been. Anshul might be able to kind of back me up on this in terms of raw numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the numbers are public, and delivery is growing by about 20%, which is not a lot. And since I think the delivery growth is a little subdued, which is where, like you said, they're trying to get into newer avenues, and even within the food delivery, they're getting into private label and stuff. And it's very clear that, as the pricing has increased, the platform fee, etc., have come in, the demand has, of course, sort of tapered down.
But what is interesting, of course, is that while there's some degree of growth in the delivery business, the amount of restaurants and delivery kitchens have come online have increased way more exponentially. So everybody is going to see a little dip, actually, not an increase in their business.
What surprises me is that the fact that these guys are doing these private labels. I think they are अपने ही पैर में कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं because what's going to happen is that the AOVs are going to fall down because they are giving such lucrative pricing. They'll force restaurateurs to reduce that pricing. Ultimately, they're just hurting themselves. Rather, it would have made more sense to work with restaurant partners to grow the quick commerce in Zomato and Swiggy. I mean, they are doing Swiggy Bold. Why not put your entire energy on Swiggy Bold? Why not put your entire energy on Z Express if you really want to compete with Zepto Cafe? I mean, it's just doing what the competition is doing, and that's what always has happened. They always tell us competition is doing this, so we are doing this. I mean, that's your competition. Why should we get sandwiched all the time, yaar?
Yeah, that's
And
the whole
also
thing.
what is
I think
interesting is that the perceived
getting
value of the
sandwiched in the
product.
middle of it is where the I think
Sorry.
getting sandwiched in the middle is where the concern is. But also, Anshul, you mentioned 20% city growth. 20% growth. It'll be interesting to see what is the same city sales growth. See, because we measure, you can always add more cities, you can add another 10 cities, and overall growth in the total turnover might go up. But what about the partners in the existing cities? What about the legacy partners? Are their same store sales growths increasing? So if they were doing sale in December 23, on a say, supposing they had 20 stores and they've not grown the number of stores, are those same 20 stores in December of 2024, are they doing more sales? So the aggregator might show a 20% growth, but did the people fueling that demand, did the legacy restaurant or legacy cloud kitchen operator, did they grow? I think that's the key thing to understand. So it's important. Obviously, stock prices change every day, and they have to have these
Very, 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 very well put, Zorawar. It's very important to know if they are growing organically or inorganically. And my hunch is, I don't have access to the data right now, but they are growing inorganically by penetrating more cities, and that's how the numbers are looking up. I don't think their organic growth in any of these big 8 cities that Thomas mentioned will be something substantial. Anyway, let's move to the next question. This is from Anita Devan. She asks, how are business operations being managed with eroding margins? Are higher prices being charged? This is the question of Anita Devan. Who's going to take this? Okay, Gauri, you are taking it since nobody is answering.
I don't think it's viable beyond a point to increase price points. We still operate in a very price sensitive market. So I think it goes back to, negotiating with your RMs and seeing what is best possible for you to do. And if it isn't, then, figuring out how you can manage without this revenue stream, because we do live in a price sensitive. It doesn't matter whether you're tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and it's not viable to keep increasing prices beyond a point, and that should not be the outcome of the aggregators making more money off us from higher commissions.
Yeah, Anurag.
No, that's very true.
I have a point on that, Anurag.
And sorry, I'll just quickly finish.
Sorry, Zorawar, go ahead, then we'll come back to you. Huh?
With what Gauri said is exactly correct, that you cannot rely in a price sensitive and value conscious society like India. You have to consider your customer base to be like a loaf of bread. Every time you increase the price, you're slicing off the loaf of the bread. Every time you increase, you're suddenly reducing your loaf of bread. Suddenly you have no loaf of bread left. So increasing prices to deal with commission arguably is the worst way, actually the quickest way to end your business. So I think it's very important to understand that price elasticity is a very real phenomena. Indians are very value conscious. We are still a middle class, which is around 300, 400 million people. The largest in the world is still not as wealthy as we think, and their propensity to consume is not as high as other parts of the world. So increasing prices is definitely not the option, especially in a very competitive environment like the cloud kitchen. So think of your business as a loaf of bread, and don't, every time you increase your price, you're slicing a little bit of that loaf of bread off.
No, very rightly said.
I have a follow-up question to this. There's a follow-up question to this. I just want to put it out. Amisha Patel asks, with the rise of heavy discounts and offers on these aggregator platforms, do you think customers prioritize price over quality or experience? Maybe Zorawar and then Praful can take this if you...
Can you just repeat the last line again?
Do you think customers prioritize price over quality or experience?
It depends on the customer. Like I said, very hard to generalize this. There are certain sects, there are certain cohorts within our consumer base that might be more value conscious. For them, they have a certain budget and they can't go beyond that budget. So naturally, eating at a very premium restaurant like Indian Accent would be once in a year affair, or maybe just, even a premium restaurant of like a Punjab Grill would be a once in a 6-month affair. So I think there are enough of a consumer base that values an experience over the price, and they don't even look at the right side of the menu. You know what they say, right? There are a lot of people that don't look at the right side of the menu. In India, that percentage is very small. It's not like I said, it's not a very rich country. I mean, our per capita GDP is still $3,000. So you're not looking at a country that is full of, a lot of. The propensity to consume is going higher. And by the way, the best thing is the food business occupies the highest share of gross disposable income. So Indians love spending on food more than any other form of entertainment. That's good. But there is a lot of value consciousness. There is a lot of price sensitivity. So I think if you look at the entire base, you would probably say 1% of the people, or definitely in the low single digits, would be looking at an experience over a price. But there is enough of a set. But remember, 1.4 billion, 1% is a lot of people. It's 140 million people. Sorry, 14 million people. That's still a large base of people to deal with, and you just have to price your product accordingly. I have products that have at a higher price point that are less prone to price variations, and then I have delivery brands where even a 5% increase can yield in major consumer drop-off rates.
In fact, I would like to add to this. Sorry, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, sorry, Anuragji.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, he's addressed it really well, but I come from a city like Pune, which has possibly the largest discounts being offered. Almost 27% is what we last kind of analyzed across the board that consumers expect from hospitality brands, whether it's home delivery or it's dine-in. Pune restaurateurs are going out and giving out large number of discounts because we are a so-called price-sensitive market. My attitude is very simple. If you're going to sit at home with a 16-inch screen, with your favorite beverage, and not even change into the clothes you just bought last week and go down into your fancy car and drive 25 minutes to a great restaurant, and you expect fantastic packaging, brilliant hot food, well-crafted food in your home, then the consumer should pay a premium, is my attitude towards home delivery, and not expect a discount. At the very least, they should pay the same price on par at the dine-in, or a little more, in fact, is a point and an attitude that we should develop. That if you're not even moving an inch out of your space, your comfort zone, and not getting into the traffic, not even bothering to wear clothes, just sitting there and watching your favorite show, let us then charge you a premium for the services we provide, and let this industry thrive then. And this would then also increase the AOVs that so desperately Zomato and Swiggy want, and do the business in that manner. But as Zorawar says, our per capita is very, very low. In fact, it is $3,000 only when you take the entire percentage of the human population with us. But the minute you remove the 1%, which contributes, largely to our per capita, you go down substantially to $2,300 per capita. And if you remove 5% of the population from that calculation, you go sub-Saharan. And that's how low we are. So we have to be careful of how we look at this, as an argument. But for me, if you're going to sit at home and order food, utilitarian or gourmet, expect to pay a little more.
Now, well said, guys. Okay, before I move on to the next question, I have a very quick response to both Anita and Amisha. Number one, I think increasing price is not a solution. You have to protect your margins. If that means you have to, not yield to the discount or higher commission, so be it. Remember one thing, if you work on a 70% margin without aggregators, so 100 rupees ke dhande mein you'll earn more than, what you will earn with 200 rupee business. With aggregators, where margin is down to 30. So that's one. Number two, these discounts, please understand there is nothing expensive or cheap. It's all about value for money. And I think the worst narrative that has been peddled by the aggregators in this country is that Indians don't value quality. They are only seeking discount. I don't think that is right. All right. With that, I move on to the next one. And I'm going to combine two questions together now. They are both related to ONDC. One is Sabha is asking, but then how ONDC is marketing itself to end consumers against Swiggy and Zomato? And Swapnesh Ikurthi is asking, ONDC is a government-run app and there could be a lot of problems here. What would a player who wants to be a Swiggy and Zomato competitor who isn't ONDC have to do? I would request Pranav to answer these two questions together, please.
Thank you. So basically, I think the way ONDC works is it unbundles the entire offering what Zomato is doing today, right? So there are aggregators on each side in ONDC. So it is the responsibility of marketing actually comes on to the Paytm or the Ola who has those customers on their app already. And the idea is they have to migrate those customers. So say you're using Ola, right? Ola already has 90 million users on their platform. These are multi-active users, right? All they need to do is send a prompt and move that user from mobility to food, which is why their cost of migration of that customer is the cheapest, which is why the commissions are low. All we need to do is we need to plug on to ONDC is just a network, right? We need to plug onto the network using partners like MagicPin, YouEngage, or whoever else is in the market. They will then go and send a signal to the Olas, to the Paytms, to the PhonePays, saying that supply is available from this restaurant. That because the customers are on those platforms, they will choose the order to come to you, and the order will flow through. So that is because this whole thing is unbundled. It makes cost efficiency comes in. Every person charges only for the service that they're providing. Either they're getting you the customer, or they're doing the delivery, or they are fulfilling the order. That I hope that answers the question.
Also I'd like to quickly add one aspect, that is that all of us are not understanding the power of our own customers, right? When customers come to you, we always say order online on Swiggy, Zomato. Now if you are an ONDC via MagicPin, you can say order online on MagicPin, Swiggy, Zomato, or just promote MagicPin more, or just promote the ONDC platforms more. So we all need to also understand that the power of our own packaging, the power of our own customers, the power of our own retailers, it's quite big, it's quite large, so you need to use that. I mean, जब तक आप उसको promote नहीं करोगे directly मेरे पास आओ या कोई और platform में आओ तो वो कैसे आएगा? So you have to take that step, right? You have to put whatever it is, whether it's a MagicPin, whether it's an Ola, whether it's a Paytm, you have to put that platform right in front. You have to promote that platform. Your staff has to tell the customer that हमको direct order करिए, ONDC से order करिए, commission कम है, आपको better price मिलेगा. That is what you need to set the narrative.
Oh, I completely agree with you, Sagar. End of the day, a consumer is ordering from a restaurant. Platform is just an intermediary. It is what we tell them to do is what they will do. Today, it is it's being projected very differently. Anyway, I'll take last two questions now. First is, this is GNG developers. I entered the cloud kitchen space in the market 3 years back. We now place amongst the top 10 GMV outlets in Agra. Okay, so this company is from Agra. We just went Z exclusive with a reduced commission. Need advice from the speakers. Who's going to take this? Basically, he's asking, he has gone exclusive.
Loaded question. I think, sir, I'll just quickly give in my little inputs. I think everybody has to obviously take the decisions for their own business. We pay our own bills at the end of the day. I think by looking at exclusivity, you're basically reducing a significant part of your market. Obviously, in certain areas, Zomato is stronger, and in certain areas, Swiggy is smarter. So by being exclusive with them in either of these areas, and if you're limited to geography, for example, if you're technically if you're in Bangalore, Swiggy is stronger. And if you go exclusive with them, you could have, the advantage of lower commissions, because if you go exclusive, they reduce the commissions and probably give higher visibility. Then you could benefit. But if you're a national player or somebody with national aspirations, then in my opinion, going exclusive is limiting your own potential. And also you're getting super dependent. Tomorrow, if something goes wrong with that platform, or if you're no longer getting along, then by being exclusive, you could potentially harm your future prospects of your business. We can't talk for anybody. People have to take their own calls. There are some people that like being exclusive in the north, where Zomato is stronger. Personal business decision. But if you're thinking from a national perspective and a larger scale, it's better to keep a larger base of customers open to yourself. That's my 2 cents.
Can I also just add here that if you are looking at any one person or any one aggregator being exclusive, try and push them to be able to market, to be able to advertise your brand for you, because you are losing significant amount of chunk of business from the other player not being there, right? So push them. We did this for one of our areas and it's worked well for us. One of our markets that has a fairly good number of volume of orders, we did this there and it worked well for us. So push them for marketing, push them for advertising to be able to bring your sales to the same level that it used to be or even better, so that you don't lose out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think there is benefit and dangers of being exclusive. If you are exclusive with one, then at a later stage you may create complete dependency on them, and then you will be susceptible to the new conditions. Anyway, the last question today, we have gone on for almost 2 hours, and this is something which has been coming from many people. The G Pradeep, there is Hello Yellow. And the question is, why don't we NRAI start our own online food platform? We can, and it will work, is what they say. And Hello Yellow said NRAI seems to be avoiding that question. No, we are not avoiding any question. So I'm gonna this is gonna be the last question for the afternoon. So I think Sagar, Thomas, Zorawar, whoever wants to take it, please go ahead.
Well, never say never, like they say, right? I mean, this was never our business. We always felt that we are good in making the food, and we felt aggregators are good in doing the third party logistics. But if they can get into our space, nothing stops us to getting into their space. If push comes to shove, if we have to, we will. Let's deliberate. I think this is a full-time job. We need to have tons and tons and crores of dollars to spend. But trust me, guys, the way I see the ONDC thing moving, and let's experiment that, let's implement that, and if not, we all need to come together. And if we can come together for a town hall, if we can come together for a cause, if we can come together, if someone is delisted, arm twisted, I'm sure we can come together to even form an app if we have to. So never say never. I think my entire team, our entire leadership is looking towards it. And trust me, the kind of participation we've got in today's town hall, thank you to each one of you. So many of you want us to, have expressed yourself. You want us to go out there and maybe create our own app, maybe go out there and tell us that, in your tenure, if this happens, it'll be a success. That shows the pain point that it is, right? And trust me, we will continue a dialogue with them, but we will also do what's in our best interest to protect ourselves. When they go and take their decision, they don't consult us all the time, right? So we also don't need to only look at dialogue. We need to take actions. We need to walk the talk. And that is what you will see happening in the next couple of years.
I just want to add on to what Sagar said about this. There's a lot of demand and there's a lot of pain in the industry right now with respect to online delivery, right? And this is a common question that we ask. Well, if you know what the problems are, why can't you just solve it yourself and build an app on your own? So like Sagar pointed out, we're being brutally honest with this, right? There is an insane amount of operational complexities involved with running a food delivery app. One where we feel that our strengths, while we understand problems well, our strengths are not probably in the same direction to build it ourselves. So we've always been reaching out to active players in the market who can kind of do this in partnership with us so that we can inform them well and build what we call as a democratic online platform. This is problem number one, operational complexity. Problem number two is the model of aggregators itself, right? Like, look, if you in a free state, if you bring in another player, the natural tendency is to also converge to this point where there will only be 2 or 3 players and bad policies and bad merchant actionables and all of this. So we're also trying to think a little outside of the box, and which is why I will speak for myself when I say that who's also been in the space for a while, that the ONDC proposition is also kind of different. It is not your average aggregator proposition. Like, it's actually something that if it works, it can have a long-term impact in how merchants interact with it, how customers interact with it, and overall, I think it will grow the ecosystem because it's not tuned towards building just a few strong players. It is built towards opening up the market to ensure there are as many players possible. And we know that whenever there are more players in the market, everyone benefits from it. Simplest example is in payments, right? Like, we have low. We don't pay a huge cost on the payments that we receive inside restaurants via credit card companies and all that, simply because there's so much competition and so many, like, it's a thriving industry right now, which means that it drives the operational costs down and everybody benefits. So that's the route, I think, as an industry also, that we should be taking. So yes, there should be a third alternative. Should NRI build it? I wish we could, and I think we should on some level. But again, we have to think outside the box. We've come so far. We have to be a little more creative in how we're tackling this problem.
Thank you, Sagar, and thank you, Thomas. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we are coming to an end. So, we started this, town hall with a very basic question. Are aggregators helping us or hurting us in the business? And I think what I can draw from whatever I've heard from so many distinguished speakers across, who are representing every strata of the business, is that while e-commerce is very important for the growth, it is not that you can grow with some very unequal, very stupid terms of engagement, what these current aggregators are propagating today. I think it's very important for us to take back some control of our digital footprints into our own hands. This whole thing that we can't survive without Zomato and Swiggy, I'm sorry, I don't agree to that. In fact, it's the other way around. We have operated and succeeded even before them, and we can be a restaurateur even without them. But what are they without a restaurant? End of the day, their business is all about being an interface between a customer and a restaurant. And if a restaurant is there, customers are going to do what on the platform? So I don't think it's an unequal fight. It's just that our industry has been fragmented. Today, everybody coming together is a very welcome change. I think we should not be so despondent that this is not gonna work, or they are too powerful to go. I'm sorry, to give you a very practical example before I sign off. Imagine if top 100, 200 companies of this country tomorrow give out an ad in the newspaper saying that, okay, we are now only available on ONDC. I'm not saying we are doing that. Do you think people will stop ordering from you, or they will migrate to ONDC? That's the power we restaurateurs possess, and we must know that. We should not fall into this trap that they are the masters of restaurant universe. They aren't. They are pretending to be the masters, but no, the real control lies with us. We have yielded some control. We have to get it back. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I will bring this town hall to an end. I hope you guys came back, you guys learned whatever. This is not the end of it. This is the beginning. Today we have discussed the problem. Very soon we'll meet again with more solutions. Thank you and have a good day.
Awesome.
Thank you. Nia, can we go offline?